Breaking. Only Buhari's switch to Christianity will nudge the North. Only Buhari's switch to Christianity will nudge the North. Farouk Ikperogi. To my dear listeners from wherever you're listening from, stay tuned as I read today's news. Quite a few readers requested me to offer a perspective on the protest that seemed to be sweeping the North over insecurity, especially in light of the observation I made in last week's column that there are only muffled, barely audible voices of outrage from everyday Northerners. And that there are no mass protests in the street and no consistently violent maledictions against Buhari in mosques like there would have been if the president were a Christian. Well, firstly, the protests are not mass, don't seem to resonate widely, and are already caving in before they have even started. Give it a few more days and all will be quiet until another cascade of mass killings. Second, this isn't the first time that half-hearted protests have erupted in the North to call attention to insecurity in the region. Recall that we are little pissed. Protest of April 2019 and another series of lukewarm protests in June 2020 that stopped after the arrest and detention of one Nastura Sharif, who led a peaceful protest in Katsina to call attention to the serial unpunished mass murderers of his people. In spite of the protest, I have seen video clips of quite a number of northern Muslim clerics exonerating Buhari of responsibility for the mass deaths in the region, and they seem to be resonating with a wide stratum of the society. Religion is the most effective driver of mass action in the North. The cynical, unpleasant truth is that the only thing that will make Muslim northern Nigeria revolt against Buhari and demand his ouster from power is if he were to convert to Christianity or any other religion, or if he were to commit blasphemy and the clerical establishment in the region validated the fact of his blasphemy. Everything else is immaterial. We have been socialized to fight for God against fellow humans but ask God to fight for us when we were being murdered by other humans who share our ethnicity and religion. The same Nigerians who fly into a tempestuous holy rage and ask for the blood of their fellow humans when their God is blasphemed are the same people who are asking for their God's intervention instead of acting now that their relatives and friends are being murdered like animals by terrorist bandits. If you have the capacity to defend God, shouldn't you have even greater capacity to defend yourself, since self-preservation is said to be the first law of nature? Or is God preservation and self-annihilation the first law of nature in Nigeria? If God, with his omnipotent powers, can't deal with blasphemers on his own but needs your defense, why and how do you think he can defend you against people who are smothering you? A week ago, a Facebook friend from the North wrote on my timeline that the mass death of Northerners in the hands of murderous brutal while the state looks away is less important than the un-Islamic dressing of a Kannywood female star. I kid you not. I was too weak to respond to him, but he captures the mindset of the average northern Muslim man. Former Sokoto State Governor Atahiru Bafarawa, in calling attention to the callousness of Buhari's decision to attend a book launch while the North burned, couldn't help injecting religion into his thoughts. People were burnt in a vehicle after they were shot, but President Muhammadu Buhari went to Lagos for a book launch, a book that is neither the Quran or the Bible. It is just a biography, he said. In other words, it would have been defensible for Buhari to attend, say, a Quranic recitation competition anywhere in the world, while people are killed in the north, so there is nothing new happening now to suggest that anything is going to change. In May 11, 2019 column titled, "The Revolution Would Start from the North or Anywhere," I made the following observations, which are now even more relevant in light of the tepid demonstrations going on in the north. Northern Nigerians cascading descent into the abyss of anarchy, particularly with the ongoing indiscriminate abductions of moneyed aristocrats in the region, has stimulated a flurry of prognostications that the revolution will start from there, that it foretells that nascent of a revolt from below, that the forgotten, despised, and hungry Ābāñdonr are striking back. That's wishful, erroneous thinking. The imagined picture of the demographic profiles of the kidnappers that have been tormenting northern Nigeria does not square with the image of distraught, economically disaffiliated Ābāñdonr. They are former herders from within and outside Nigeria who have lost their cattle for any number of reasons, and who have taken to mindless avaricious and self-interested banditry. Anyone who expects the seed of revolution to sprout from the thoughtless brigandage of this sort of insensate Philistines must be clueless about what revolution entails. These disparate strands of resentment might coalesce into a mass resistance, then blossom into a protest, and culminate in a rebellion without ever achieving the status of a revolution. In a revolution, a vanguard takes ownership of the rebellion and uses it as a ladder to climb to substantive power. The kidnappings in the far north are not a mass resistance, nor are they self-conscious, systematic protest, or even a rebellion. So they have not a snowball's chance in hell of ever transforming into a revolution. The northern Hoipolol will bear the real brunt of Buhari's cruelly strangulating and escalating incompetence, won't resist protest, rebel, much less revolt, because they have been socialized into accepting their economic suffering with equanimity. The only thing that arouses their passions, that animates them to mindless violence, is religion. You can smother the northern masses with economic aspiration, as Buhari is doing now, and they would make peace with their faith with listless acquiescence, but blaspheme their religion, or even icons of their religion. And they would rise up in arms and murder indiscriminately. Appeals to religion is the easiest way to ignite the raw emotions and solidarity of the northern masses. The region's elites know that intimately and habitually exploit it to perpetuate themselves in power. So out there, listeners, from wherever you're listening from, stay tuned and move to the comment section to let us know what your view is all about. Thank you.